Boom.
There you go.
Round 25.
What are we cheering to? Cheers.
First, we need to let them know who we're soon to be sponsored by. A Malbec wine. Bet you couldn't have guessed that one, right? Argentina. I'll spill the beans on the country. We did continent last time. We'll do country this time. And this one...
Apparently it's cocaine. So the lady says. At the store.
I don't even know. I don't even have anything for this. What do you got for this?
Purple Magic?
Purple Magic. It's definitely going to be sweet. All right, cheers.
Cheers to life.
Yep, just like I was thinking. Has that, you have that spice kind of flavor to it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about the aftertaste. That's a little different.
It is like a peppery kind of taste.
Yeah, so we went off the recommendations of some lady at the wine store. And she was like getting off to this wine about how it's the greatest thing on earth. And pretty sure she was paid to say that by somebody.
She's probably hates it and spits on it.
But yeah, I didn't even read the little cringe back piece on it.
I should do that real quick. Let's
All
pause
right.
the podcast.
So enough on the silly wine. You want to jump into pagers?
Let's do it.
So pagers, ladies and gentlemen, you remember those? I know I don't.
I had to tell him about it or tell you about it.
I only knew of it because of Bruce Almighty.
He has one in Bruce Almighty?
Yeah, you remember the scene where he keeps getting paged to go to, and then he throws out the window, it gets run over, and it still goes off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm an expert on pagers now after reading an article on the internet written by a 15-year-old freshman in high school. It wasn't a freshman in high school.
I was like, you went back to the kids on YouTube?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I saw that was pretty awesome about them is like they're used a lot still, particularly with so I'm learning you something.
Yeah, still.
Like I always say,
Holy
anything I discuss
shit.
to you about, you're going to be an expert on it. Like you're going to
I'm
be
falling back. Whoa.
You're going to want to go like maybe work for a pager company. But they're used a lot. They're pretty much only used by first responder type people or medical personnel or people who need to be able to be reached. And yeah, you can communicate back from it, right?
From a pager?
Yeah.
I think it's only receive.
Yeah, because no, you can at minimum notify the person. I don't know if you can. Yeah, you won't be able to type. There's no keyboard on it.
Maybe a button or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
At minimum, you can acknowledge. I think it is one way, but it's kind of two way because you can at least tell them, "Hey, I got your message."
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know how they work? I know I don't.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's been so long.
So they work. They're not a cell tower type thing. They work off of no joke FM waves, like your car radio station.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of think of that and how that would make it pretty reliable. Like no matter how far within a certain amount of reason.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're not gonna be out in the Himalayas answering your pager.
Yeah.
But since they work off of radio waves, which cell phones do too, but there's a middleman, that cell tower in there.
Yeah.
It has balance. I'm pretty sure with pagers, it's just like a radio station. It goes from the radio tower and then it comes to your car antenna,
Mm-hmm.
and you can be a good ways away. But the frequencies they use pagers on, I think it was VHF.
Okay. Very high frequency.
Yeah, and yeah, so they're super reliable because they can go a long ways. And they're perfect for, because like if you're in an emergency situation, you mainly just want to know like maybe if they're alive or like where are they located, and that doesn't necessarily require some long paragraph. Like if I want one now because of the simple fact that it's kind of like one of those things you could throw in your car bag.
Yeah.
Like especially if you're going out like on a log trip somewhere to like a more isolated area, you could just, one, tell somebody where you're going, and two, have them have like pre-typed up questions that they can ask you, like, are you okay? Yes. Like, it was saying that people in those situations, like firefighters, wildland fires in particular, um, they tell the people that are sending it, they keep sending it until they respond. Like, don't, because that's the thing about pagers. Like, there's no guarantee that they get it. There's no, so on a phone, when you send a message, it won't say delivered until it's no joke delivered. Like, even on Facebook Messenger, it'll have a not filled in check mark, and they'll fill in.
Yeah, with red too.
Yeah. So you have full confirmation that it gets delivered. So with the pager, you don't have that. So they just keep sending it until they respond. And if they never respond, then you probably get the helicopter or something. So they're super good in that like instance. You don't have to worry about this. First off, charging it. The thing lasts forever. Battery is like a single AA.
Yeah.
Some of them. Don't have to worry about charging it. They're small. You don't have to worry about bringing extra equipment like chargers, and they're probably really rugged, robust.
Yeah.
They're pretty robust.
That word.
That makes me think of pasta sauce.
Robust.
This is a robust aged tomato.
What are the popular pasta sauces? There's Newman's,
Prego.
right? Huh? Prego.
Ragu.
I think that's what it is. Ragu, robust.
So
Robust
pagers
ragu.
and now tomato sauce. I don't know how the hell that happened. But yeah, so super easy to pack too, small, and they're everything you need. And plus, if you want to, something about me is I wouldn't mind having the feeling of being like, we'll just say Tromsø, Norway. Beautiful, I think it's the most northern city, most populated northern city in the world. And people go up there to see the northern lights and everything.
That wine is
Hey man,
rough.
don't be talking shit about my wine.
That's a shitty Malbec. I want my money back.
But
My bad, but keep going.
We'll
I have
even
a
say that
question.
because I don't know if they have infrastructure for using pagers. We'll say I want to go to Montana to do a nice camping, live in my cabin trip.
Yeah.
Get away from technology, get off the grid, so to speak.
Yeah. As much as you can.
Yeah, and I don't even want to bring a phone.
Or a tablet.
Yeah, nothing. But in my mind, I would, just how I am, even if I want to do that trip, I gotta have something to communicate back. Just for a simple fact that, well, if something happens to you,
Yeah.
you don't even know something minor could happen to you. You just need to communicate with someone. So don't bring the cell phone, bring a pager. It's more reliable. You're going to have cell service probably. Not cell service, but radio frequency service. And it's not a phone. It doesn't have Bluetooth.
Do you think that'd be a movie one day? Like some families out in the woods or Grand Canyon, and they're like, "Oh, this pager's gonna save us. We'll wait out." And then like 4 days later, there's like no signal from whoever's on the other end.
Could be.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it'd be kind of interesting if that's a problem with pagers.
I bet man, Aaron Ralston, I think that was his name. Dude that cut his arm off when he got pinned in between
128 hours.
Yeah, I think it was Aaron Ralston is his name. I bet he wish he would have had a pager.
Yeah.
It's simple too, just clip it on you. So yeah, I think after doing my extensive research, I've come to discover that pagers are 3 things. Pagers are awesome. They're underrated, and I want one.
Did you look into how robust they are? Like, can you throw them in the water now? Like, what's the technology with them today? Do you know anything about that? Like, if you were to buy one, like, is it more rugged than maybe 20, 30 years ago when they first came out? Maybe 20 years ago is fair.
I don't know how robust they are, but if you're comparing it to, I'd say they're in the same class of reliability as an old school flip phone. Like a smartphone is probably the worst thing you take with you.
Well, like a Nokia, that thing would crack concrete.
Yeah. Like if you go on, you have one form of comms and it's your iPhone.
Yeah.
This thing that guess what you have to, one of the most delicate things on it that you have to have to use it, the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I think well, they're decent. They're water resistant anymore. They're getting better. But yeah, you could drop a pager all day and they probably made them decently waterproof. I'd go on to say.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing: if you drop it, it's not gonna crack the screen.
Yeah, you're not gonna get a new
crack
screen
the glass.
for it.
Yeah. But I think they're pretty cool. I think it was pretty interesting to look into because it's something I've always known about. I've never looked into them.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how like setting one up is. Like, is this thing not even paired to you?
I think it's almost
no
like that,
way.
like almost like an early version of Bluetooth, because I know for a fact, like, because the idea is that it has a number, right, or it's paired to your phones in some way.
No, so you get your own
pager number.
Yeah, it's a pager number, and someone has to
call it, right?
No, they basically kind of dial it up. They have to type in your code and then put the message. And how it works is it works the same way as radio on your car works. It sends out the signal and everybody that has a receiver gets it. But the thing is with pagers, it sends it out, everybody gets it, so to speak, but only the person with that number displays it. So everybody receives it, but it doesn't display it to them.
Oh, so it's like an encryption thing.
Yeah, you should probably like mess with it. Probably not too sophisticated. Just start getting everybody's messages.
Yeah.
I bet some people do that.
Probably now. Yeah. It's old technology, right?
Yeah, and that doesn't seem like it'd be too hard to crack into. It's a FM wave.
Yeah.
Everybody gets it. I was going to say something. But, it's like affiliation with you. Like, can you get a pager and it's not even affiliated? Because all electronics are affiliated with you now.
Name, the IMEI, all that crap.
Yeah, and then you can't buy a phone without it being associated with you.
Yeah.
Unless you pay cash for it, so to speak. Like, this is something
Well, you still put your SIM card in it.
Yeah, this is something I've
what is the SIM card?
Huh?
Do you know what the thing for the SIM card is?
MZ?
MZ.
TMZ and MZ?
Yeah.
So to be completely anonymous with a phone nowadays is a lot harder. But let's say you want a no-joke burner phone.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
The trap phone. That's what I call it.
Trap? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you see someone with a flip phone, it's their trap phone.
Yeah. Why do you have a flip phone?
Yeah.
And yeah. There's something shady going on. But if you want a no-joke burner phone, not affiliated with you in any way, in my mind, and I've ran this by other people, and they kind of agreed with me. So maybe you can find some flaws in my little scenario.
Did they rub your back and you rub theirs, or what?
No, it wasn't. It didn't require that.
Not that far.
Yeah, it was just a simple disagreement. That's where it ended. I mean, we're not gonna get too crazy about my silly scenario, but okay. So your task is to get a burner phone, legit burner phone, not affiliated with you.
Yeah.
In the system, payment method, all that. So what you do is I'll even go the extra mile. You go to your store of choice. We'll say Walmart.
Ugh, that's cesspool. I hate every time we go there, dude.
So you go to a store that sells, we'll just use a track phone for this example.
They're a proprietary one.
Go to a store in a disguise so cameras can't identify you. You give a stranger, you have to
My name's John Doe.
find somebody willing to do this. Someone walking into a store, a random person, no clue who you are. You give them cash. You say, go in there and can you please buy me one trap phone? They go in there, they get it. Boom. Now you're not in the database of Walmart anywhere, whether it's through payment method or CCTV identification. So you got that clear.
Yeah.
And then when it's time to set it up, obviously you got to set it up. That's how Big Brother knows what these you go to another country to get a travel sim, they want to see your passport.
Yeah.
Because if you start doing terrorist things with that sim, they know who it's tied to.
Yeah.
So you have to do everything cash when it comes to your plan, getting your minutes. And as far as your account setup, I don't know that you have to create an account online to use a phone, like a old school one.
I think fuck.
And if you don't have to, then you're golden.
Yeah.
Because how'd you do it when the internet wasn't around with the old school cell phones? You just paid cash for minutes.
Yeah.
So that the payment method, and there's no account affiliate. You don't use any apps. You can't even really get apps on those. Just never connect to your Wi-Fi at your house ever, and never log into any accounts like your email from your phone, internet. Never do that. So it's never ever affiliated with you. The only way it would be affiliated if somebody was triangulating it and it happened to they try it. So when you get to your residence or near it, turn it off and take the battery out.
Yeah.
Then location, payment method, account setup, and CCTV identification has never been affiliated with you. So that's, in my mind, a legit, because I have a burner phone. It's just my spare phone. That thing's fucking affiliated with me. That's not a burner phone. That thing has my name all over it.
Yeah.
But what do you think? In my mind, that is a scenario on how to do a anonymous, not affiliated with you burner phone.
Yeah.
Any holes in my thing?
No, mine was like a monkey running around in the cage.
Oh, you're thinking of like, wow, I'm gonna do this weekend.
No. So back in the day, so actually I'll start off at the beginning. Is if you're gonna try, oh my bad, my feet got caught. If you're gonna do a trap phone like that, starting off with even getting someone to think that you're legit, I don't know. Like, so the first step is convincing somebody. So they have to understand that what a trap phone is. That's like lingo, right? Or even a burner phone.
What do you mean convincing them?
So I'm saying so if you're trying to get this non-affiliated, I'm just breaking down your steps, not putting holes in like the process, but like in how to get there. So let's say you give it to some kid, some Girl Scout. Hey, I'll buy your cookies if you go buy this phone. I don't know, some fucking stupid thing. I'll give you change.
All right, don't do that because you might get reported to the police for that alone.
Yeah, just throwing shit out there. Okay, you go ask the dude asking for money, the little ringing dude, the fucking
there you go.
Donation
Salvation
guy.
Army.
Salvation Army. Hey, go buy this phone for me. You have to say like, go buy a trap phone or go buy this specific phone, right? So like, in your mind, it's a trap phone, so maybe you don't even say that. You say, go buy me this specific phone because I want this phone. I don't know. Anyways, then you have to, CTV-wise, not be able to be tracked. So, like, how obviously have cameras outside, so how do you get this person? You'd have to be somewhere else. I don't know. I'm not trying to get crazy on it. And then you don't have any of you said social media or anything like that?
Yeah.
So you just so what about phone numbers? Are you pre-programming phone numbers, or are you writing the shit down on like a sticky note?
As far as making calls.
Yeah. How does that work? Because whoever you're calling is maybe associated with you already.
So, first off, you need to make sure nobody calls you. Like your fucking mom doesn't.
You call them.
Yeah, you accidentally call them. So if you're using it frequently.
So it has to be a one-way communication.
Yeah, if you want to be over the top with it, you just repeat this process every time you
make a call.
Yeah,
yeah,
you've seen it before. Maybe not in that method, but they would switch SIMs.
Yeah. It is pretty tough. It's expensive. Is bottom line.
It's almost like that's something else I just thought of. You ever heard of how people? Yeah, I can say that. People will talk to each other. What they do is they'll create an email account and they'll just type up an email, never send it, save it as a draft, and they share the login info and then just log in and they open up that draft, hit enter, and then type. They get out, the other person logs in. They pull up that draft.
Oh, wow.
So it's never sent.
How do you track that?
You can't.
Yeah. That's pretty tough.
As far as I know, you can't. It's never been sent.
Yeah.
So you could. There's email accounts you can set up that not a Gmail.
Yeah.
Because a Gmail is like, all right, first you're gonna have to put in your SSN and another backup email.
Yeah. Well, definitely, it's like word of mouth too. Like if you're gonna log in, you can't transmit that.
Yeah.
You can't say here's my login because then that's already you're communicating at that point.
Yeah. So there's a anonymous email account you can set. It's not even for like anything shady. Some people just want to set up and not maybe if they're like
to get grandma's recipe. Sounds stupid.
Maybe if they're more like a more big, popular, famous person.
Yeah.
You can set up emails where it doesn't. It just asks you. It doesn't ask you like any because Gmail they want to know like background.
They want to know
contact
your
info and all this
HIPAA stuff, your tax returns.
Yeah, they want your IRS tax number, but there's some email servers that all you do is you type in just a name and like an email address, and you can create an account that way.
Yeah, I got like a email yesterday from Google asking for my password, and I sent it to him.
No, you had me for like maybe half of a second. maybe I'll give you about half a second.
Hold on as long as I could on that one.
I was gonna say, well, did they fix your problem with your account?
I was gonna say the social, but I was like, that give it off.
That's pretty good. You're getting better at your convincing.
They're never gonna ask for your password, folks.
Yeah. Rule number 1 of any account. Nobody's gonna ask you for your password.
Oh my god. You're too good, Bo.
You had me a little bit. You had me better on that one than the four cups of coffee at night.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah. So, would you want to get a pager then?
Yeah. So that's the reason I brought up.
Whip it out at work.
The robustness is because like, if you are trying to do it for like these outdoors like things, do you maybe need to waterproof it or like something to cover it? You know, like they make those cases that are like waterproof. They have like the stupid seal. You know, you could put your IDs in there or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty popular for boating. I don't know if you've ever had like any of that stuff, but they like float. Some of them float too. So they're like clear or they're like usually yellow or something. I don't know why yellow. Maybe it's easy to see.
Yeah. And then some people put them in Ziploc bags. That's like the life
that's
hack.
another one.
That's
easy.
Get punctured easily, so you gotta watch out for that.
Yeah.
But nurses use them pretty regularly, like inside hospitals.
Yeah. So like, hey, come over here or something.
But it makes sense because it's like a direct form of communication.
Yeah, my friend's mom's a nurse. I should ask her how like not only how often they do it, but like what they use them for. You know.
And I wouldn't think theirs look like what you think a pager looks like. I think it just uses paging technology. They have like a little pendant or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about the haircut stuff. You know, they have that, or food, they have the disc.
That's a good example. Yeah. That's a really good example. Have you seen the little their transmitter sitting on their desk that has a one antenna? Yeah, and they just type in a number, and because I've always wondered about that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you go to any restaurant or any place that uses that, I'm like, is this thing gonna reach? Is this thing gonna get signal? Because we don't think in terms of that's like old school better technology nowadays. Because like we're used to like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and the range on those things is nothing compared to the paging technology that even the little beeper things use.
Yeah.
So that era is like far better when it comes to that. 'Cause I bet you could take that thing and probably go down the road with it.
Yeah, pretty far.
Yeah, because Bluetooth it's if I recall correctly,
If I can recollect.
If you are transmitting a signal that has a lot of data on it, like a Bluetooth signal with music, you're listening to music, that's a lot of modulation on that wave.
Yeah.
It's a lot of data on it, and you need a high frequency to get all that data. Well, what does the high frequency wave get you? You know?
No.
Short range.
Oh, okay.
AM waves go.
It's heavy, right? That's like the idea. It can't travel as far.
Yeah, it has a lot of data on it because they need to get a lot of data in a short amount of time. And if you have an AM wave that's like meters long in some cases, the wavelength.
Yeah.
You can't. That's like no data on there. You need it to. You need like a gamma ray, right?
Yeah.
So when it's Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, that's a high data rate, high frequency, low range.
Yeah.
But with pagers, because of their simplicity, less complexity, less data means you can just put like your one sentence, which I don't know how much you can send. There's probably a character limit for pagers.
Yeah. Okay, now I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, you can put your one sentence on this pretty still high frequency, but compared to cell signals and Bluetooth, not too high of a frequency, and that thing goes for however many miles.
Yeah, when me and my dad were talking about them to begin with, he was saying like they would do codes and stuff or messages like to do a challenge question. So like if they said like 21, that meant like, it's me, this person, or hey, we're gonna go do like any kind of code you could think of. So I remember, I think it was my uncle. I could be wrong. It's one of those childhood memory kind of things, but I remember someone looking down at their pager for like longer than a second, and maybe it was a message, like a decent message. Because if you think about like billboard signs that are electronic, you know how like sometimes they move, so like the message is kind of going across like a strip. Maybe that's how pagers are. So like your message kind of falls off, and then like the characters keep coming in until it's done. Maybe it repeats itself twice. Or
Yeah, that's how I would do it. Because if you had it where you could scroll, that's another button you have to potentially put on it. But if it just goes, what's the code thing for? Is that so they know their message got to the right pager?
Could be, yeah. Really, any kind of. I mean, why would you send a code to begin with, right? So like, it could be you want to make sure the person is who they are. You want to use that number or whatever, that word for something. So like, if our thing is like Malbec, right? That's our challenge word. Then I'm like, yeah, that's Bo. Or if like someone intercepted it, right? We're talking about people having the ability to interfere with this old technology. Maybe they see it and they're like, Malbec, oh, that's nothing, whatever, it's a wine. And then, but to you, that means, hey, I need help, right? For instance, just kind of whatever you want to use before. But I'm saying like when my dad used it, it'd be like, hey, let's say 49. Oh, you want to come have dinner at this place? Let's go here. Or 50, for instance. Like, oh, hey, Johnny wants to come hang out or something, Just depends.
Yeah, the first pagers came around after World War II. I don't know if you knew that.
No way. Were they giant then, yeah?
They're probably a lot bigger. It was in the 50s. There was a patent or like a conceptual design of a pager, very simple, in the 20s. I was reading, but the early ones were super simple. It was like no message was sent. It was just like how the barber works. There's only one form of communication. There's no typing. It's just ding. It just goes off. It's either 1 or 0, on or off. And they used to use those for, I think, just like basically what the barber uses it for, just to like alert you to something. Like, hey, when your car's done getting worked on, this will go off. And then there's other ones that their purpose was, I think where they got their actual name from was to page you to get you to come to your office, because you needed to they wanted to reach you on your office phone.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like their intended purpose was to get you to another form of communication.
Yeah. That's why, because like back in the day, 80s, well, I should say even early 2000s, like payphones were still a thing, right?
Yeah.
So like, hey, I need you to go to this nearest payphone. Come call me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know, maybe mom and pop are in the hospital. Come hit me up. But back in the day, I mean, think before even Cold War era. Back in the day. Back in my old day.
Please don't do that again. I thought that cancerous bullshit. That right there is why the last one got like 10 views.
What did I say?
You know what you said when I said back in the woods. Yeah, don't. That's what I thought of when you said that. Please don't. No, we're good. We don't. If you want to see what I'm talking about, watch like episode 3 or 4. Yeah, 3.
Oh, it was 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
That. Yeah. You're gonna scare off her.
You should see the analytics at the end and see if people tuned out.
We're getting our most loyal fans like scared of us, and they're gonna leave.
Is the so Cold War, right? Like, let's say the height of spy or counter counterterrorism. No, not counterterrorism. What is it? Surveillance. What's the word? Counterintelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah, counterintelligence.
Yeah.
So, like World War II, 50s. I think you're probably good on the 50s era. Is like maybe back in the day, a little flicker of a light, meant like, hey, come to the office, or hey, get out of there. I don't know, something to be interested. It's so easy.
What do you mean?
So like, hey, if you see I don't know, you're on a date and you have some on your, let's say it's strapped to your leg, right? You have it there, and then you feel the buzz go off, and it's like, get out of there. So have you ever seen
that'd be good? Yeah.
Benghazi? What's the 13 Hours?
Yeah.
You seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Remember when they're in the market and there's the couple, right? The undercover agent and fucking what's the dude from The Office, whatever, him, and then the other people in the family or on the table. Well, then the dude gets a call and says, "Hey, call him at the table. Make sure they get the hell out of there because there's people here that shouldn't be here." Same thing, like except for a cell phone, it's a little buzz, so you feel the buzz and you're like, "Oh shit, I don't know what's going on, but I need to get out." A lot
more discreet.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, that would be because there's no technology now. Because I guess we quit making it. We don't care about simplistic tech. All right, it's you hit this button, it sends a signal, and it vibrates. Like that's the most crude technology, but in cases like that, it's super good. I mean, it doesn't. And the good thing about pagers, as far as I know, this you don't think of pagers as like this traceable thing. Like, oh, I got his pager ID. Like cell phone, you got all your social media on it, and that's probably as far as they need to go.
Yeah.
But like a pager, it's like really pure. It's this unit that doesn't do anything on its own. Like when it's sitting there, it's not like it's receiving, but it's not displaying.
Yeah.
But it's not really. Maybe it's emitting. I don't know what it'd be emitting though.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask, like, can you even triangulate the thing? Like, is it that advanced? It's probably not. I don't think so. I mean, unless you, what is that persistent threat thing, right? Like you keep paging it and paging it. Like maybe that would tell you where it's at.
It probably had some kind of like how.
I think I have a way.
It probably had something that like 911 services could. They probably all come pre-programmed where if it receives this particular thing from, it can see that it's receiving a different signal that's coming from a 911 dispatch center.
Yeah.
It would probably, if it receives it, it'll say, "Hey, I'm here," and it'll say that to all three. So it'd probably triangulate. It probably is set up to have some kind of safety thing, just like how iPhones nowadays, you can press and hold the lock button and swipe SOS, like even on the watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they probably come with that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like this really simple technology that I would love to have. Like if I was going on like it'd be kind of neat to learn. It's like a nostalgia thing. I mean, I never had one. My parents never did it either.
I was just looking into something to see what I could talk about on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'd be cool to figure out how to even see what the capabilities of a pager, like what's so advanced about it compared to a cell phone, because like you're saying, like everything's in it. So what is more advancement about the pager? The amount of information that it can pass. That's, if you look at it as simple as that, like Morse code. I think I was telling you about Morse code last week.
Yeah, and the second they open it up to, guess what, folks? Now you can say something back. You can actually say a message back. It's not just yes or no.
Yeah, I meant to tell you that earlier. So, like, I was around my cousin a lot when I was younger, and he had the Razr, the original iPhone.
Original iPhone?
Yeah, well, it was like if you didn't have a Razr, you were a piece of shit.
Oh, the iPhone of its time?
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
And
you don't like this wine, by the way?
It's all right. It's you know how when you like eat something that has pepper in it, and it's like that huge pepper kick? That's what I taste. It's probably different to you, but I can't. It's
probably because you're a fucking beta male.
Yeah, that's
how's that orange Sunny D bullshit you're drinking? All right, never trust a guy that drinks this bullshit.
Yeah, it's a duck or something, isn't it? What is that?
Yeah. Smells good.
Yeah, that's because I'm a fucking man. There would be a time, I think it was midnight to 2 a.m. or 10 to 12. Can't remember the time frame. But there would be a time when you were talking about like you hiding your identity to a phone, and during this time you would make phone calls because you had to pay for your minutes, right? That was a big thing back in the day before they came up with unlimited talking and texting, because now everybody cares about data. So they said, hey, between like let's say 10 p.m. and 12 p.m. you can make unlimited calls. It doesn't matter. Call that whole time.
Yeah, I remember.
So there was like this really niche time before the switch, and before you really didn't get any of that, where it's like, hey man, like I can call you, but I can't call you till 10, because then I remember when I got my first phone, like, oh, my parents are gonna see that I'm running their bill up, because back then, you know, you'd easily pay $500 to $1,000. You would hear these stories, at least I did, because they would go over in their minutes or their messages. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I didn't hear that.
No
level. I've heard of more of.
Yeah, because they charge you like 50 cents or 25 cents a minute, whatever the fuck it was back then.
I heard a horror story of a guy that, I think he was coming from the States, took his phone overseas to another country.
Yeah.
No. It was a work phone. That's what it was. He was already overseas, and he traveled somewhere with his work phone, and I don't know what reason it was. For whatever reason, when he was in another country and it was connecting to a cell tower, it charged him some like fee. You know, there's a roaming fee or something.
That'll happen. So like you have to pretty much disable your phone or take out the SIM card, because it'll charge up the ass.
Put on airplane mode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't do that, and he ended up having to pay out of pocket and it was like a lot of money.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, if I remember the story, he had to pay out of pocket for his work phone because the fucking thing wanted to screw him over and charge him all this money.
Yeah, before I was going overseas, I tried switching my plan, and I think for like 4 megabytes, it was like $90. What? And I was like, fuck that, dude. I spent like $30 for fucking unlimited data when I was in Africa.
Yeah, when I showed up to Bangladesh, I had my phone. I was so paranoid after hearing that story before I went over there. My phone look, there's probably not straight talk towers in Bangladesh. Something just tells me that.
Yeah.
But back then I was like, I don't care. I'm playing it safe. And yeah, I kept it in airplane mode the whole time I was there.
Yeah.
But that's something we could get on. Did you know? Maybe you didn't notice as much. So the difference between America and Europe, I'll speak to Europe because that's one I know.
So you were born?
Yeah. I mean, look at me. Come on, man. Blend in everywhere in Europe. Maybe with the exception of Spain and Portugal.
You would not fit in.
Yeah.
Sir.
Hola.
Yeah.
Come on. Can't you see? So
I'd slap you right there.
America and Europe, and I'll say even Singapore, because that's the only countries I can really speak to as far as like their cell phone data plans.
Yeah.
The way they look at and we look at cell phone, I'll just say the whole cell phone plan. We'll just say the plan. Over here, it's this very like, the way I put it is like cell phone companies, I'm talking like bigger ones like Verizon, Sprint, AT&T still around, I guess.
Yeah, AT&T, T-Mobile, and someone else. Sprint combined, I think.
Yeah, T-Mobile not so much because they're more of the unlocked people. I'm talking like the contractual ones, if that's a word.
Oh, Verizon, AT&T, and
Sprint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those companies are like, they look at cell phone use as like way too serious. Like,
yeah,
they're like, oh yeah, you want to get a, who you think you are, just thinking you can just walk in here and get a cell phone plan with us, boy? Let me see that phone. They look at it. Okay, yeah, we can get you one. All right, but you're going to have to sign up for it, and it's going to be for a year. And guess what? You're not getting out of that it's a contract now.
You have to pay your way out.
Yeah, you got to pay your fucking way out of this stupid cell phone thing. And then it's that, and then it's like, oh, you want to get another phone? Okay, well, you can put it on your plan and pay. It's like this. It's like you're paying a car payment.
Yeah.
And it's a binding agreement. Like, why is there a binding agreement in your phone? It's so like, it's the most proliferated technology in 2020 as you're just talking, and it's like a big deal to not all companies. I mean, I won't say who I use, but let me tell you, I ain't in no contract.
Yeah.
So over here, it's like really serious. Over in Europe, at least with all the carriers that I know of, it's not like that. It's just like, think of like the early days when you just got some minutes on your phone. It's the same concept. Now there's data, and they're usually, not usually, but most of them are unlimited or a very high amount of data.
Mm-hmm.
And I was paying, so for example, when I was in the Netherlands, I was paying non-contractual. That sounds weird. Contractual. It wasn't a contract. 20 euros a month, and it got me everything I needed. It was like 10 gigs of data, which is fine by me,
Mm-hmm.
and it was pretty much good in all of the EU. Because the EU is like the United States when it comes to like crossing borders and your cell phone still working and all that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the thing. It was like that everywhere. It's like 20 euros. That's it. Over here, good luck. $20 is going to get you like, you're going to watch one YouTube video. You're going to be out of data. And and they do minutes probably at that rate. It's like, what is that? I get 500 minutes. What are we in the 90s? Over there, you get unlimited everything except the data.
Yeah.
But the data was like enough for me. And even in Singapore, when I went there, I got, it was just a travel sim. And it was like, I don't even know if you can do this here. But it was like 15 Singapore dollars for like 20 gigs of data or something.
That's a lot. That's like what I use in a month.
Yeah, it was a good bit. I was like, wow, that's so nice.
Not literally, but yeah.
Just walk in there, some shitty cell phone shop. I was like, can I get a travel sim? Yep. Passport, $20. Plug it into your phone. Boom. Then you have communication. You even have a cell phone number.
Yeah.
So it's like not a big deal over there. It's just like a thing. But over here, I don't know how a travel sim works. But if you went to Vegas, there's probably like, all right, well, you have to, use it for a month. You can't get it for 2 weeks. Yeah. I got one that was like 2 weeks. Whichever came first, used up your data or it expired. I don't know how it works over here. So I'm just talking on my ass. But something tells me it might not be as easy as or how they look at it in other countries.
Yeah, the first phone that I bought was, I don't know if it was like the track phone, but it was like very similar in terms of the idea behind it. I paid, it was like $50 at the time for everything, the phone, the minutes. It might have even been more. And I remember within the first 3 days, I used all my minutes, all my messages, and I was like, man, what the fuck? I was like, being an adult, like at the time, being an adult sucks. So that's my experience. This was like 2010. No, maybe a little after 2010.
Mm-hmm. That was a good year.
Yeah.
It really was.
It was.
09 and 010, like.
Good, solid years.
Yeah.
2011 sucked. So did 12, for sure. Anyways, I'm going down the rabbit hole. We're
starting to veer.
Yeah.
What? We corrected.
So now they have all the, like, smartphones. Not that. Track phone. I don't know. There's the new Mint one is like that popular one now.
What is it?
Mint. I think it's Mint, right? Or is that not the banking one? Is it? No, it's phone. Yeah.
Mint.
So, yeah, you know who the guy that plays? What's the red suit? Very funny. Not Daredevil. The other guy. Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds.
He owns Mint. And
he came out with a cell phone line?
Business. Yeah, I think it's like for affordability is the thing.
Okay.
And it's
okay.
non-contractual, like you're saying, or
yeah, because he knows a thing or two about not being able to afford things.
Yeah, and there's a couple others. I don't know the names. That's irrelevant. What I'm trying to get at is like nowadays I think that it's easier for you to not get contracts, but the amount of like Virgin Mobile back in the day was the first one, the pioneer in all this. So I think it's easy. I mean, I think a lot of these companies now, like, you got to think in the beginning, had they not charged us up the ass for money, would they be able to charge us now just for the data, right? So, like, setting up the servers, like, maybe they needed to at the time otherwise they wouldn't have been able to. Because if they didn't have these contractual plans back then, who knows where they would have got that popularity from? Because it's proprietary, right? So like you're gonna be with us, so we know we're gonna get this constant 2 years of payment. That's how cars do it at dealerships or car owners, manufacturers. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying now is like cell phone companies are able to get away from that now because they have so much of a foundation. Even these new ones, like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, even these Virgin Mobile at the time, I could be wrong, but I don't think they had their own cell towers. I think they ran off of others. I know this one company ran off of Sprint towers. Maybe that's why Sprint sucks so much ass, but...
Yeah, I think Straight Talk ran off.
Straight Talk, that's another one.
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, I don't know if they do now. But that's not. You reminded me. The other thing I was getting at is, one, they have the contracts, and two, they have the cost. $60 a month is like the norm, I think, for like unlimited talk and text and data.
Yeah.
$60 in Europe would be like, what am I getting, a fucking house with this?
Yeah.
Like a lease on a car?
I'm gonna take you to court.
There was no. It was Labar. Yeah, I think it was Labara is who I used in the Netherlands. That was the carrier.
Yeah.
And there wasn't no $60 plans. I think it went up to like 45 euros
for the premium,
which I don't even know what that got you.
Got you 2 girls.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. It's like, why is it such a big deal over here? And it's like, no, there's a contract. The contract thing is so stupid to me.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a phone.
It's straight up proprietary. Stick with us for 2 years and you'll get the best service.
Yeah.
Which is a lie.
Like, even cars is like not that big of a deal. It's like, why has the phone got to be a lease?
Yeah.
It's like you're leasing the phone.
That's how I feel about Spotify.
Yeah, that's something I was thinking of the other day, how we don't own anything.
I own
anymore.
my music.
Right, how?
I pay for it.
Yeah, but you're
on iTunes.
you buy the iTunes isn't around anymore. I thought I went to Apple Music.
Well, okay, Apple Music, yeah.
Yeah, but you
I don't do the monthly subscription bullshit.
You don't?
No.
So
I also haven't bought a song because, like, that's the thing is music these days isn't like what it used to be back in Slipknot era. You know,
yeah, LimeWire.
Tool.
Yeah.
Bullet for My Valentine back in the day was a good one. The end of the grunge era, early, like Screamo. Because Screamo's been around for a while. Because you consider
don't call it Screamo.
It's not what it is, but like, you know what I'm saying, like
that is a derogatory term they came up with to label all metal music as this weird.
Well, there's actual Screamo. Yeah, you're right. I should say.
Yeah.
What would you define Bullet for My Valentine? Because sometimes they do scream.
That's
like
metalcore.
Metalcore?
Yeah.
Okay.
Metalcore. Screamo is
like calling the 2A something. I'm
trying to think of a Screamo band. A Screamo band is more of some like.
There's a band out there that kind of look like similar to what Metallica would be back in the day, but all they do is Screamo, like legit Screamo. Like they sound like fucking devils, is what it sounds like.
Huh.
The name's going to come up to me, and it's going to be too late. It'll be like the last 5 minutes of the podcast.
So I can tell you what a Screamo band would look like. There's this band called Black Veil Brides.
I think I've heard of them.
I don't know if they're like metalcore. They don't like scream, but Bullet for My Valentine was just another metalcore band. Just like All That Remains or As I Lay Dying.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's 2 other metalcore bands. But that's like the genre, and then somehow someone came along and labeled, like, if you call Slipknot Screamo, you're just like
Slayer,
yeah,
they're like Screamo.
No, that's a thrash metal band.
Thrash, okay,
yeah.
So what delineates them? That's what, like, you know, obviously there's genres of like different types of music. So like there's a sad country, there's a pop country, there's like the
pop country is not country though.
No.
I listen to Florida
There's
Georgia Line. I'm a country boy.
There's the good country from like the 40s, 50s where my grandma would listen to, where like the dude actually can sing. He has like a no shit good voice that you could like fall in love with kind of thing. Like, wow. But then like you have like that 90s era of country, like Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw.
80s country was pretty good.
Yeah.
Get all Alan Jackson.
Yeah.
I hope he was in the 80s.
Alan Jackson. Was. Yeah, I forgot about him.
I think it was the later 80s.
I have his music, yeah.
No, but Slayer is oh man, you better hope one of our friends from DACA isn't listening to this right now. Because he would. They're not Screamo! No, Slayer is a...
Nate Dogg?
Yeah.
Yeah. We miss you, buddy.
No, they're a thrash metal band, just like how Metallica's first 4 albums were. They're more of a thrash metal.
Okay.
And then the Black Album, which was still good, is when they started. People say they sold out. Then they started getting more radio friendly.
That was one of my favorite ones, though.
Yeah, it's a good album. Yeah, I like a lot of songs. I can't say
it's their peak, but it was a really good album.
Yeah, their first 4 albums though were like, that was
thrasher.
Yeah, it was good stuff. And I don't know if they're making music still. They're retiring soon. And Tool is too. Tool is, which sucks because that's like, they're so good. They're not gonna make another album.
Yeah.
How are they? Like it basically comes down to the lead singer Maynard.
Yeah.
He's one of the most interesting people on the planet. He's like the Elon Musk of
thrasher.
I'm not gonna say like the Elon Musk of music or anything because he does like Elon Musk is like the innovator dude. He's like I'm gonna say Thomas Edison. I'm gonna say Nikola Tesla. He's like the modern Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
Because Elon's doing all engineering science things. They're all under the same umbrella. But Maynard is he's doing stuff.
Only took 50 minutes for you to say Elon.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for.
That's something we gotta talk about later. Remind me about the 4x4.
Okay.
Not the Wendy's 4x4.
I'm a fat ass.
So Elon does like all the science things.
Yeah.
It's all under one umbrella. But Maynard, he's he's the lead singer for arguably the biggest, I guess we'll just call them metal band. They're like their own kind of thing.
It's like, if I grunt, like it's like a Godsmack, right? They're like, I'm not saying like that, but I'm saying like, you can't really say Godsmack is heavy metal. You can't really say it's like relaxed. It's like,
yeah.
But like I think
they're kind of like their own genre thing.
Yeah, they are in that weird category where they're rock and roll, rock, metal.
Something that I think their best label, just based off of like fans from the earlier days, is a psychedelic metal band because they have metal that when you listen to it, you think of like, man, if I was on acid listening to this.
Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you hear Pink Floyd, you think like, one, this music was made from psychedelic drugs.
Yeah.
1 trillion%. They'll probably even admit it. And 2, man, this music would be good to listen to on psychedelic drugs.
Yeah.
So I have said that Tool is kind of like the class of Pink Floyd. I'm like, when you like, that's something I'm glad I got to experience because I found a lot of these bands later on. Like I wasn't the dude listening to Linkin Park when I was in middle school, which was like
that was me.
Yeah, that's cool because like that's like that was them. Like, and that was like when you're like kids our age were like listening to that kind of music. I wasn't doing that. I didn't really even listen. I listened to the radio, but I wasn't like I didn't have a band. I didn't have bands.
Yeah.
You know, if someone like asked me like when I was in 6th grade or whatever, like, oh, what's your band, man? I'd be like, I wouldn't really have an answer. So I found these bands later on. So I never got to experience and appreciate the like hype of a new album coming out. Like, oh man, their album's rocking. So I've had to kind of catch up. I've been lucky enough that these bands have gotten older, but they're still making music. So I got the opportunity to, like when like I was pretty. I think the first band I really got like took a liking to, and then got the experience and listened to an album dropping was Avenged Sevenfold.
My brother loved that band.
Yeah. They dropped their album in 2016, and I was like, oh yeah, nice. I saw it drop, and I'm gonna listen to it. I'm not gonna find it years later and be like, oh wow, this album's old. So I got to do it with them. Slipknot dropped their album in 2019. I got to do it with that. Great album. I got to do it for Tool, which was super cool because it was super anticipated. It was like the biggest news in the arguably the music world, and YouTube charts reflected that. They were number one on trending when they dropped their album. One of their songs got number one on trending YouTube, which is crazy. Slipknot did too, by the way. I think I told you there was a time because Slipknot and Tool were dropping their albums around the same time.
Yeah.
And there was a time where on YouTube charts, like trending overall videos, it was a Tool song, a Slipknot song, and an episode of Joe Rogan. It was like the greatest trending. Like if you could screenshot that, I'd be like, no, this is what YouTube is all about.
Yeah.
We know the fans of YouTube got some good taste, or have some good taste. Where was it going? Oh, so yeah, I got to experience Tool dropping that album, and based on like what I read in the comments, is people like would always reminisce like all their older songs, like, man, I remember. It was always drug related. There's a lot of drug Tool fans, which is okay. I can't relate though because can't do drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like doing acid to this album when it first came out and blah blah blah. But just seeing them reflect on how they had this distinct, vivid memory of when this album dropped and how they laid back and listened to it, I was like, okay, I didn't get to do that for any of their albums, so I want to do it this album coming out. I know it's coming because they announced it, and so when it comes out, I just want to listen to it, and that's it. And that's what I did. When they dropped their album, I got off work, went to my room, took my headphones, threw them on, and just listened to the album straight. Didn't do anything else. Just laid in my bed and listened to it so I could like experience it.
Yeah.
And that's like I don't know that too many people do that. They kind of just like listen to music, but they don't like experience it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They the album drops, but they don't have any like emotional connection to it. Like, yeah, I remember when this album came out. I remember just listening to it and this, that, and like the people in the comment section, they turned me on to this thought of just listening to music, and that's it. Just it. That's all you're getting. That's all the stimulus your body is getting. You're not in the car driving, it's playing in the background, or, oh yeah, I'll listen to their album when I clean my house today. No, I wanted it. That's it. That's all my brain is receiving. So I have maximum focus on it. I sound like a giant tool bag, pun intended, fan. But I don't know. I just wanted to, I saw how other people experience this music, and I was like, I want to experience the same. And like that Slipknot album, bro, because like I love them both. That's like my two top bands, but I love them. I appreciate them for different things, bro. That Slipknot album though, that had some emotion. I had that thing like brought tears to my eyes. Some of those songs, because they were like, I wish I could listen to some of those songs, that album, for the first time again. I'll never forget. So that they dropped their album came out in 2019.
Mm-hmm. I remember you telling me.
Yeah.
About all this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I hit up the group chat because I was like, I'm in it. I still do. So I've been an influence on a lot of people's music taste. I think to include you. I think
I've listened to that. So Tool. So actually, my first experience with Tool was, it would be Tool, it would be Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses is a huge influence in my house, or house, family, anything. I'll tell you about Guns N' Roses. Offspring. Don't know if you remember them.
I saw them.
Avenged Sevenfold.
I saw them.
A little bit of Godsmack. My dad got me into that. Obviously Metallica. My buddy, long old friend, Corey got me into them. My dad kind of too. That's like when I started working out was Metallica. A really good memory to pin to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, wasn't really into Nirvana though. I don't know. Nirvana has good songs. I own their songs, some of them, but I just think they're a little overhyped for what they were. I think it's his suicide that made him popular. You know, at least for that era.
Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shot himself with a shotgun.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I know that.
Pretty gory.
I
He had
knew
a daughter and a wife, I think.
I knew he took his life. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's something. Hopefully, I remember. I'll get to. But yeah. So, as far as like tying emotional connection, that's a good thing to do. Like there's a lot of I've really ran into anybody that besides old Nate boy that like, because everybody in the world obviously listens to music.
Yeah.
Everybody, pretty much everybody enjoys music.
Yeah.
But, and this doesn't even mean they have to be like a huge fan. Like they don't have to go to all the concerts and stuff. But I think it's a good service for them to like do to themselves. Like you can take anybody aside. It doesn't even matter what band it is. Let's say you're a huge Drake fan. It's like, all right, you like their music. They have an album coming out. You know that, right? They post it all over social media. When it comes out, listen to it. Like, no joke, listen to it. Don't be, I'll listen to it when I drive home from work, because you're just hearing it. You're not listening to it. You're not feeling it. If you have some good headphones, that's an even bigger plus. Maybe sit in your car and listen to it. But don't be doing nothing. Just take in the music. Like, you're not able to, because you can only hear it for the first time once.
Yeah.
And it is a valuable thing that you will remember and talk about, because it's a conversation piece I'm about to tell you about.
Yeah.
Just take it in. This isn't supposed to sound like all like, oh, you just gotta feel it. No, it's just
fuck.
Don't read into it too much. It's just music. Yeah. But it has look, if you're like a fan and you really like their music, kind of like hits you in a way or something. I know Slipknot kind of did. It's weird. It can like all these. It's just sounds.
Yeah.
But it can like move you. It can motivate you to work out harder.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so what I was getting to. So one of my buddies back in the Netherlands.
Back in Nam.
Yeah, back in Nam, particularly 1968. He didn't even know about like Slipknot or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I got him into it,
mm-hmm.
and it was around this time they were about to drop their album, and they dropped a few singles. And just to like paint the picture of how it was with like their music, I wanted to, like I was saying, I wanted to listen to it in a we'll put it this way. You never, let's say a movie's coming out and you really want to see it. Most people, where do they go to see the movie?
Movie theater.
They go to a movie theater. The only stimulus in a movie theater is the movie, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing else going on. You wouldn't want to watch the movie when someone's vacuuming in your house and just all this fucking noise and you're working on your school project. No. We watch movies in the fashion that I listen to music when it comes out. When a new movie comes out, I want to watch it on TV or watch it in a movie theater. When a new album comes out, it's the same thing. No visual. It'll have a music video.
Yeah.
But I want to listen to it with zero input aside from the music.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same concept. So they dropped I pulled up YouTube one day. I was at work and I was like, oh shit, Slipknot dropped a single. The song Soul Way Firth. I told you guys about.
I think you did, yeah. For deadlifts, is that what you said?
For what?
Could be wrong. You would like it. You were doing deadlifts with it or something?
No, it is. No, I said it was like a good song for the gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was getting off work, but I was still on work. I was like, I'm not gonna listen to it now because I'm at work and it's gonna be coming out of these shitty TV speakers.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll wait until I get off. I waited until I got off work. It was like a thing in my day. It's weird. It's like a song came out. Hey man, can you come do this? Sorry, I'm gonna be listening to a song. Give me like a little bit. It's a weird thing to talk about. That's how I am with music. It means something to me to the point where it's like it's a thing in my day. It's like a kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as much of a big deal to him. So he was like, all right, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to listen to it. And I'll never forget this. He got off work and he went and worked out. And he would do this thing where he would call me at work from outside. He would be sitting outside just like talking to me on the phone. He was funny. And he calls me up after a little bit and he goes, yo, that new Slipknot song, man, whew, fucking fire. He was like, it brought chills to my skin. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah, dude, it's so good. And I was like, man, I'm so hyped. I got off work. I was looking forward to it. It's like getting off work. So it's such a weird thing, isn't it? Like, why are you in such a rush, man? Oh, a new song came out. It's not even like a new episode of Black Mirror came out. It's a new song. It's no input. It's just your ears. Yeah, I got off and man, I wish I could listen to that song for the first time again. It was just like, it's still so good. But like that first like listen to that song and it like, dude, it made me like tear up a little bit, man. It was like that good. And then when their full album came out, it's just, I think it's some of their best work between Iowa, their 2001 album.
Yeah.
And people will disagree, but I like pretty much all their albums. But I think, and plus he stopped smoking, so his voice and vocals like not drastically, but there's a substantial difference in like his singing ability.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to go see him in Amsterdam. Great concert.
I think part of it is because you have an investment in it. So like that invested feeling or investment is that you're going to get something out of it. Like obviously it's not monetary, but it's a feeling, it's an emotion. Because there's definitely moments in my life like when I met so my wife's going to hate me on this. I'm talking about my ex.
Oh no.
And ex, I should say.
Oh no, how dare you?
I like there's like moments in life like where you just like remember things. So like I remember being this like freshman in high school and I like asked my girlfriend at the time out and I was like so like anxious and like, you know, I had all this investment in her as a person and then like when I popped the question like, do you want to be my girlfriend? It was like she said yes. I was like, oh, you know, and it's like carry that to many other moments in life. Like, I remember when I started this job, you know, I was all alone, like barely out of high school. And like that moment of like, what am I going to expect? You know? And I was like, you can't recreate that feeling of that anxiety, that emotion, that stress, happiness. I'm fucking finally here. And then even, Modern Warfare, going kind of back into what we talked about last week, is like, I remember, you know, this vivid memory of hooking up my Xbox, putting this game in and playing Modern Warfare. And I was like, man, like, this is the first time I played online, Xbox Live, and that was popular, right? And I remember this feeling that, like, it was hyped up kind of through friends and already playing online. And now that it's mine, I'm like, oh, I experienced this, like, wow. Just really cool moments in life. But getting back to music, like I remember it was my mom, my dad, my brother, and me in this small apartment. Probably no bigger than this room, honestly. A little bit bigger maybe. Like barely. And we were in the back room. Me and my brother were going to sleep. And I remember we would fall asleep to music. And I listened to Akon when he was popular back in the day.
I actually did too, yeah.
And I remember falling asleep. And he had this song. I think it was called like Mother Africa or something. But, like, just, like, I could feel his emotion in it. Because I think he's actually from Senegal. Like, no shit, over there.
Yeah.
And so I remember, like, listening to that. And, like, I could feel the emotion, like, in his singing and the music. Like, that's the thing about music is, like, it's electronic music. It's rock and roll. It's freaking someone singing, like, in the 50s with that nice, you know, the iconic microphone that has, like, it looks like ribs. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Like when they hold that, that's kind of like these emotions that you kind of associate. So that's like one. And so that's like my youngest one, right? I remember Akon. And then when I, for whatever reason, it's like there's also the emotion is tied to the memory. So like you remember it being better then than you do now, you know? So like if I watch a movie now, let's
No, you get
say,
into my next point I want to bring up.
okay,
My other topic.
like if I watch a movie now, like what's the drunk one they talk about? The Hangover.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, so I remember Step Brothers. I remember Superbad. Like the first time I watched those, laughing my ass off. But I vividly remember The Hangover, and it was like the next movie after Step Brothers that where I could like laugh my ass off and like it was actually funny. But if I watch it now, I don't get that same emotion. I'm like, oh, it's funny, but like I'm not laughing, you know, like internal laughing, like LOL, kind of on a phone bullshit. So I bring that up because when I'm in like music now, I'm like, man, I remember like Purple Rain, November Rain is like the two songs that when I hear them, like to this day, like there's times when I'm like, maybe it's early in the morning or it's late at night and I listen to those songs and like I could feel the emotion.
Yeah.
Like I just like, it's hard to say, but like there are certain moments where you can recreate them, not in the same way, but it's very close. Like November Rain, like they start off with the piano. It goes off really, really gentle, and then it starts going like picking up the pace a little bit. But I just like remember like one of the moments or a couple moments in life where I've listened to that song specifically, and I can associate it without time. And like I think that's part of the investment is because it is a favorite song that like since I've played it over and over, I've had more memories with it. Like I met one of my good friends through what's the Santana song? Black Magic Woman. Like it's just a guitar solo. There's no one. I mean, he's singing, but not really. You know, it's more of the solos, and like I created a bond through that. So that's my investment. Is like me listening to the song, playing it is the investment, and I get out of it like a friendship, for instance. You know, so like I remember old Nate Dogg, this one dude that was at work for like a week or whatever. He like Nate Dogg was playing Pink Floyd or something. I was like, oh, I love Pink Floyd. He's like, what song do you like? And I was like, I at the top of my mind, I didn't have my fucking playlist. I didn't know. I was like, I think Money's pretty good. And Nate Dogg's like, oh, fuck that song. He's like, I hate that song.
He hates that song?
I think it's just a ching, ching.
Yeah,
he hates it, but I think he still likes Pink Floyd.
It's a particular song. It's not like Comfortably Numb. Or,
yeah.
It's not.
He's like, you would pick that song. And I was like, come on.
Money.
Yeah.
It's a crime.
I thought it was a good song. But I'm pretty sure if you ask him today, he hates that song.
I think it's weird how music is. You never like really associate the emotion with people do.
Yeah.
But for me, and it sounds like from you, we associate the music with a time period, a place, or like your feeling. It's not just the song itself. Movies are kind of different. Movies are kind of, you don't really associate a place with a movie as much. You're like, yeah, I remember.
Now you do. Maybe not so much then.
Yeah. I guess it's because there's no visual input for the song, so you take in more of your other senses. You know, like, all right, I'm here, and this is how I'm feeling, and this is where I'm at in life.
Yeah.
But for Pink Floyd, another huge, like, just my emotional connection to Pink Floyd and all that was the first thing that comes to my mind is I just said all this and now I can't recall. I think it's pretty sure it was 10th grade astronomy class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would listen to Pink Floyd, and I think it was just kind of like 10th grade period, but particularly astronomy because it was in the morning, and looking back on it, I guess it's kind of weird, just like tuning everybody out, my earbuds in, listen to Pink Floyd, bruh.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but I'm not like that now, so that's why it kind of like hits me kind of weird. But yeah, that to me, that's my emotional. I attribute it. I didn't say, yeah, Pink Floyd is good, and I listened to it. It's like, no, I remember going to it. It's weird. You attribute like your days, like your overall like daily schedule around a song. because I think it has to do with there's no visual input. So you have auditorial input. Well, you're not watching a movie, so you're just taking in what's your day like. So maybe that's why you attribute like your location or surroundings or your place or your setting more with music, because you don't have anything else to go off of.
Yeah. So my buddy actually. So I listened to this band called Zap. I think it's just called Zap. Could be wrong. I have it in my phone. But anyways, I remember going to this concert with my dad back in 2015. No, sorry, before I graduated.
Back in NAM?
Back in NAM. I think it was 2013 or 12. And it's like legit an oldies concert. So like I remember seeing like these older group of people, like maybe 40s was the youngest person. Like it's like that kind of old. And Zap was there, like no shit performing. It was pretty cool. And I forgot about him. And then fast forward to last year, or sorry, 2 years ago, my buddy's playing this song, and I'm like, bro, this sounds so familiar. And I bring this up because I did this presentation maybe less than 6 months ago. And what I did was my theme was you should tell your story because you need your story to be heard and others want to hear it. Whether like not like they don't care about it, like you should want to tell your story kind of thing. And it was just really good theme. I brought in books, music, and poems. I'm huge on poems, low key. Yeah, it's an interesting part of me. I used to love like there was a time in my life, 8th grade specifically, where all I loved to do was write poetry.
Really?
And, yeah, and
Huh.
like my teacher, like
You need to hang out with Lex then.
I'm not trying to like, yeah, I love his stuff because that's the thing. Like, I'll get into that too. Here we go down the rabbit hole, guys.
We got a queue of fucking... Dude, we need to get bigger SD cards. At this point, fuck the editing. I'll take a week and a half to edit it, but at least we'll talk.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to get at is there's this time in my life where poetry was a big thing, and my teacher at the time, she wasn't like the best with students. Like she was cool to talk to, but not a lot of students liked her. They didn't like her attitude, kind of thing. But I had like this pathway, like this sliver with her, where she really loved reading my poetry. She's like, "Wow, like what the fuck is this? Like, what are you writing? Like, you're in 8th grade. Like, what is this?" And I kind of threw it away, right? Like I just stopped writing it. I just whatever. I hid it away. I could still do it probably to this day, but that's the thing about me is like you probably hear it sometimes too. Is I speak faster than I'm able to think in terms of like my mind is going 1,000 miles an hour and I'm trying to regurgitate like here's my blah, here's my thought.
I like to say that's happened to me, but I think I realized I'm just retarded.
It might be that. Oh shit.
Elon does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Now I got freaking 15 things in the queue. After you're done talking, I want that particular thing. Yeah.
So what for that is like my 12th grade? I don't know. Fast forward a couple of years and I met one of my favorite like that's a thing. Literature teachers. Like maybe this is why I love poetry. Have always been my favorite. It started in 4th grade. I wrote stories. My teacher then, no one liked her. I liked her. 5th grade, I had this really quiet old lady. Loved the shit out of her. Really good literature teacher. Didn't care to write poetry then either. 7th grade, 8th grade, had phenomenal writing teachers. Fast forward into my my junior year, and I met like one of my like no shit literature role models in life. I was like, this guy, like he defined what rhetoric was to me. So rhetoric is basically, maybe it's my shitty interpretation, but this is how I view it, is like your ability to convey a meaning, and that's kind of like rhetoric. Like even just being able to talk, that's good rhetoric, right? So you can convey a good message, and it kind of brings that point across, whether it's emotional. There's like persuasive. There's a couple of them. But like he introduced me to that line of thought of rhetoric itself. And like, dude, it was like a fucking 4th of July in my face. I was like, holy shit. Like this is new. And I kind of dabbled into poetry a little bit again. And I probably to this day, I don't think I've touched it since then. But there's moments like that, right, where you're just like, I can associate perfect times in my life. Because with music, going to the original Zap thing, like in this brief that I had to give to these people, like in that brief, like I felt like I probably could have cried if I really wanted to, because like the emotion was so strong. So like I had Freddie Mercury, and like you think about Freddie Mercury. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Queen or about Queen. It's really good. You should watch it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But like I just remember seeing like this clip that I sent, and like Freddie's like full of life. He's like, you know, projecting his voice, and like you could see like the emotion that he's actually like genuinely interested in the song. Like he's like, this is how I share my story, right? That's the theme. And then I went into this other song with my buddy, and it's one of them was Zap, and like I just remember like even in that moment, like man, I remember this song from my dad taking me to this concert, but like I remember my buddy and me having these long days together, and we would listen to this music, you know. So like I think you showed me some stuff in DACA. Like we'd listen to music for a little bit, and not very long, because we would be usually changing over. But like, yeah, there's really cool moments in my life where I'm just like, man, like this song means more than it should, you know. And it's because I am invested in it with my own time. And I think that's what's cool about music and just life, is that you can invest without knowing, you know. You ever seen The Office?
I'll just say yes.
There's
to conform to social norms.
There's this scene at the end, I think like season 7 or 8, and the character is irrelevant, but what he says is like, I really wish I knew I was like in the good times when the good times were happening, kind of along those lines.
Oh,
and that's how I feel about like music or any like fresh like man, like it's like a high. It's literally a natural high, like as natural of a high as you can get. And I think that's like a really true statement that he says that, because like you look back on it and you want to repeat it, right? So like for some people it's the youth. So man, I wish I could be young again, or I wish I can go back to high school, kind of thing, you know. And it's like you can't, you know. That's a sad, like that. Your memory is kind of what makes even dementia or Alzheimer's so sad, is that person wants to cling to those memories, but they can't. They maybe can't even remember them. Something as simple as that. But what were you thinking about Elon, though? I'm kind of interested in that. Real quick, at least.
It's nothing too crazy, but so something I've noticed over the years, just being around particularly people that are instructors of material, you know, they're a teacher in something, or someone who is a good speaker, but not necessarily smart.
That makes sense.
Smart is kind of like relative. Like, what do you mean smart?
Yeah.
Smart as in, so we would say Elon Musk is probably the smartest guy we have by a lot of standards. How good is he at speaking?
No.
Not good.
I never heard him. I mean, clips. I've seen clips of him.
Speaking in terms of, I'll just use an example. Neuralink. He did his Neuralink demonstration several months back, and if you had no clue who Elon Musk was and had no clue what he was talking about, and you watched his presentation on Neuralink, he had a PowerPoint to it as well.
Yeah.
And you watched him click through that, and it showed the slides, and then listen to him talk, you'd be like, who the fuck is this guy? He stutters a lot. His PowerPoint presentation was, like, super, like, simple.
Yeah.
It was like, you wouldn't think this guy is, like, a genius. So when I was seeing that, I was like, you know, if you didn't know who this guy was, you would think he's not as smart as he is. And then that's when, like, I kind of like realized, like, oh, so you don't have to be the most articulate person to be viewed as, well, you can be smart as fuck.
Yeah.
You're sending satellites and rockets up into space and building electric cars, but your speaking skills don't have to be like top tier. Like Joe Rogan is not as smart as Elon. Like, he would even agree with that, and other people would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe Rogan is very much more articulate than Elon.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
100%. So I used to be more caught up on like public speaking and how I speak. I want to get better at it. It's not saying I just like, I'm fine with where I'm at.
Yeah.
No, I want to get better at it, but I beat myself up. As you can see, I'm not good at speaking. Beat myself up less over, oh, I stuttered, or I took a long time to formulate a thought, and there was a long, awkward pause, and this, that. I don't. If you watch Elon talk, especially in this last time he was on Rogan, there was some instances, and he's done this every single time he's been on, where he like gets asked a question by Rogan, and he'll sit there and
think.
You see how that was like uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Almost. No, he'll do that, and it's like
You're waiting. Pause. Yeah.
And he's it's interesting because he's in control of his conversation. He's not like, oh, he asked me a question. Ah, fuck, I need to hurry up and come up with something. Ah, it's been a minute. It's getting awkward. I'll just say this. No, he's in like control of like his deliverance of his speaking. He's like, okay, he asked me a question. Give me a second. Let me think. Okay, I got it. Here's what I think. He's not trying to just beat the clock and, sound bit. Come off the top. Here's a freaking clickbait message thing.
Asphyxiated.
Yeah. He's not in the, he doesn't have an interest in like firing back as quick as possible, being the most articulate, and this, that, and the other. But this is like the Tesla of today. We'll go down in history. We'll be in textbooks if those are still a thing.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how there's the correlation between, you shouldn't write someone off if they go up and talk and they don't sound like super articulate.
Yeah.
You shouldn't write them off as being a dummy, I guess you could say.
Don't compare me to Elon in this instance. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm saying is this past week alone, I've ran into that same issue. That's what I'm going into is like someone would say something and I'm a fucking old man, you could say. I had to literally sit there and process because I believe not the soundbite issue of it, but the fact that like I'm not gonna just shit out an answer for you because you like I'm not your puppet kind of thing, right? So like they said something at work today, or not today, but like a couple days ago, and I had to think because like things are going quick. Like this timeline for work that we have is like short, so like we have to do things like in like a certain manner, otherwise we're not gonna meet the timeline. And so what I'm trying to say on that part is that like someone says something, I had to look at it. Okay, let me process this. What am I thinking? What do I know? What do I not know? Right? Like literally like these back steps that are happening in my mind. And then they in this instance, they didn't give me the time of day. And I was about to like go say something because I was like, all right, I'm ready. Like, I've got what I need to say. And then they just cut me off. Bam. This individual and was like, yeah, I don't need to hear what you say. Let's just move on. And then like kind of what we've talked about before, I was getting overjumped, right? So I was trying to talk and then someone cut me off. So then there's this power move, you could say, right? Mm-hmm. So like I overspoke this person, so I'm better than him. So then they're like, hey, do you want to talk? Like kind of in this like low, gentle tone, like, let's go help out Lou McClelland over here. And I was like, no. I was like, he cut me off. Like, I'm not even gonna try. Because like if I did, it would make me look submissive, right? Yeah. That's like the thing. And
you're
so
insecure about him.
Exactly. Like I need to speak like ooh, and like that's when I cut myself off. And I was like, no, he cut me off. It's not important. I'll just move on. In my opinion,
you're in control of your
correct. If they don't care to hear, I'm not gonna tell them. That's how it is at the end of the day. Because like I had this really good thing, and it wasn't to change the direction. It was to emphasize it. Say, hey, I learned this. This is my experience. Let's fucking send it. And like he never got to hear this because he just cut me off. So like you have that instance where like I'm slowly recognizing the issue as the solution. So when they say people in our industry are, or even in America, right, the world, are better with college degrees because they have college behind them. I don't think it's the college that they learn, like the material, right? That's not what they're really learning. Yes, you could say they learned some of it, but in my opinion, like after all this time of doing college, I've retained very small portions of it, not collectively, you know? Like I could talk to some of it, maybe I've heard it, that's it. That's probably what's helped out with some of this. So it takes time to process things because I have this, you know, more foundational knowledge versus someone that never attended college. They've just got better at their job, which is I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying like I could see it now. So like in our industry where they prefer that you have a degree because they think you are smarter, and I don't think it's you're smarter because of what you know. It's because of your ability to process things, think through things, and that like see things from a different perspective is really what it comes down to. So in that instance, I kind of see like, you know, maybe someone without an education or an understanding. I mean, you could still get this without college. That's not what that's why I don't care about college. I'm just kind of comparing it. Is more people with college tend to lean this way, and that I was able to formulate what I wanted to say. I took a pause and I understand the situation. And then this guy maybe didn't understand the situation, so he jumped that gun, you know? And then I realized, like, all right, maybe he doesn't realize what I'm trying to say and doesn't care. He's disregarding it. So now, instead of furthering the situation, I'm just going to move on because, you know, whatever he's thinking is, in my opinion, irrelevant. Because if he doesn't have the time to listen to me, I don't have the time to listen to him.
Yeah, I like what... So it's like now the standard of a good public speaker is someone who, and I admire the people that can take a question and just fire back immediately. Yeah. That's like the accepted thing. It's like, all right, if you're going to go up and publicly speak, you're not allowed to pause or anything. It has to be immediate, like
flow,
backfiring back.
Yeah.
To questions or whatever. So I like it when Elon comes up and he's already proven that he's a genius. That's just a fact. He's already demonstrated that and proven it many times over with multiple companies. So when he goes up there and takes pauses and stutters and shows that he's a human, he's probably still an alien, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
So when he goes up there and shows that he's imperfect and stuttering and this, that, and the other, it brings like comfort to the people that were maybe insecure about their, because a lot of people are insecure about public speaking. It's like a thing that you grab an average Joe and be like, all right, in front of not even too many people, in front of these 25 people, tell us about yourself. They're gonna
all 50 eyes are on you.
Get all scared and you know.
Yeah.
So when Elon goes up there and he's not the most perfect public speaker, it's like, oh, that's awesome. It like brings comfort to the average Joe, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's weird how you can just be articulate.
Mm-hmm.
There's a such thing as people that are articulate persons. And the attention of the audience is oriented towards, if you have an Elon who's a stutterer, and we only use him anymore. If you have a stutterer and a pauser who collects his thoughts, or a, you know, off the hitch, boom, boom, boom,
go.
which is good, as long as they're delivering answers and accurate information with their quick fire, not just like, all right, I don't know, but I'll just throw something out.
Yeah.
Boom. If you have those two, people are going to listen to the, you know, off the hitch kind of dude.
Mm-hmm.
He could be even saying bullshit the whole time.
Well, it goes into that rhetoric thing, like their ability to captivate an audience is what it comes down to.
You're much more captivating when you're, you know, like, and it probably comes down to Hollywood and movies and stuff, like, oh, that's what a leader is like. Listen how articulate and, oh, yeah, you know, one of those people. But something I've learned through him and just seeing him talk is that, like, Bro, intelligence and like articulation are not one and the same. They can be they're like inverse.
Yeah.
You can be super smart and not too articulate. But with him, what you're saying about your mind working faster in your mouth, I think that's his problem, man. I really do. Because, like, I think this guy, he's not, obviously he's not dumb. I think he's just, like, up here going 15,000 miles per hour. And it's a good thing to tie up with Neuralink.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about Neuralink on here yet.
Mm-mm.
So the way it relates is you are limited to your physical, we'll say your hands and your mouth, your physical
Senses, maybe?
extremities,
Okay.
characteristics. We'll just use that term. Yeah, because so what Neuralink is going to do is eliminate your physical limitations as far as, we'll just use an example as even speaking. There's no more stuttering, pausing, collecting your thoughts, or we'll say even typing a message. I like the typing a message better because it's more
Hands-on.
relatable, I guess, because some people are more articulate. But look, your hands can only move so fast, no matter how fast of a dude you are. So you can. So the best way to put this idea, Neuralink is going to take it where you don't have to type anymore, and you can think your thoughts into a message.
Okay.
Basically, you know,
Yeah.
Neuralink's concept. I can explain that. You'll be an expert.
I think I've heard of it, but no, I don't fully know it. I'll be
Okay,
honest.
so quick rundown. Neuralink's going to be basically a chip in your head. They remove a piece of your skull and replace it with this receptor. It's going to be like,
I remember that.
yeah, it's going to be like the size of a smartwatch. Then it has these threads that run into your brain, and not even in concept or in theory, it's like, in actuality, you're going to be able to interface with an app on your phone. Maybe we'll say super simple. You'll be able to interface your brain with iMessage on the phone. There's no more, hey Siri, send a message to mom. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no more of the hey, you know who, send a message to this. What do you like to send? Say da 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 da. There's no more of that. You just think it and it interfaces and it works. So if I was going to not even say the hey Siri thing and I was going to type it, man, I need to quit doing that.
You weren't gonna type
Siri's
something?
going to be our guest for the next podcast, apparently.
We'll talk to her. You better not say it again. You keep saying, I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it again, but I'm not going to say it.
So if I wanted to type a message, I'm at the limitation of how fast my thumbs can move.
I ran into that issue so much lately. Like, I'm not even kidding. I don't know what it is. I have this weird perception that when I type, I'm typing faster than I really am. And I'm like, man, why am I going so slow?
Uh-huh.
Because I was typing last night and I was like, like smacking the shit on my screen. And I was like, I need to go faster. And I was like, I can't go faster.
And that's gonna be the beauty of Neuralink. It takes away your physical, like, you can speak a paragraph way faster than you can type it. I don't care who you are. Maybe unless you're like the world's fastest typer. And that's on a computer. On a phone, it might be even slower because you're limited to
the small buttons.
Your two fingers.
Yeah.
So on a phone, you're not going to speak a paragraph. Not even speaking even is harder. It's not even like, because it's coming straight from your brain, so to speak. You're not wiring it through your fingers. And all right, how fast can your fingers move? Because that's how fast your message is going to come out.
Yeah.
speaking is still at the limitation of your mouth and like you forming the words correctly. Your thoughts are faster than your mouth,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird to say because like they're almost like they're kind of like the same, but your thoughts are faster because there's no movement. You can sit here completely still and you have a full on conversation going on in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And Neuralink is going to capture that conversation going on in your head and then zip, wire it into your phone.
Have you seen the newest Indiana Jones, the Crystal Skull?
Yeah.
Do you remember at the end? Huh?
It's been forever.
Yeah, it's an older one. That's probably like 2014, honestly. It's old. Yeah. But do you remember that scene at the end where the alien is like looking at the woman and she's like, "Give me your knowledge. I want to know everything." Do you remember that scene?
Yes, I remember that scene because it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. But I'm thinking, advanced world, USA, global Earth, doesn't matter. Maybe even aliens, right? Conspiracy, simulation. Is we get to this point, like, I don't know if you remember, like, the intensity of that scene. I watched it recently. Not too recent, but more recent. And this alien is, like, really giving this, like, angry, confused, like, look, but, like, staring at her, like, what am I supposed to share? And I bring this up because, like, if we go to this Neuralink as a world, right, and we start sharing information this way, are we going to be able to speak? And if we do speak, what is it going to sound like? Is it not going to sound how we, like, it's going to be incoherent, right? Because we're not used to speaking because we don't need to speak. So it's an adaptation that...
Let me keep talking. I have a full tie into this. Don't let me forget this one.
That's what I was going to end on.
Yeah. Let's keep going.
Is that, maybe we're going to get to this point where we adapt and we don't even communicate. We have this, like, and then I'm saying something to you, and I'm like...
Just facial expressions.
Yeah.
Because those are, like, subconscious. You know, that just happen.
You're still moving.
Yeah.
But you don't need to talk to move.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the full big enchilada, as Alex Jones says. Let me
You're gonna have to
get a little bit more of this. Huh?
You can have the rest of mine. This shit tastes like ass.
How dare you say that?
It's probably because it's from... Is this from Chile or this is Argentina?
No, it's Argentinian.
So, shit bottle.
You should go back to her and tell your opinions on that.
Yeah.
All right, so the full tie-in. So before this, we were talking about, I brought up to you my idea of, it's not really an idea, I think it's like a fact. This thing I realized, overwriting childhood memories with adult memories.
Yeah.
And so to give an explanation of that, I can give two. One to what you're talking about. We'll just say a video game, for example. So I remember this one video game I used to play. It was on the PS2 when I was a young kid. I distinctly remembered this game being super realistic. It had the graphics were ahead of it. This game was ahead of its time, and I just remembered it being super realistic.
Yeah.
As a kid. And recently, a few years ago, adult, I was like, man, I remember that game. Let me look up some gameplay of that. And on YouTube, when I looked it up, I was like, this is the game? It looks like shit.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I now have a thing to go off of what actual good graphics look like. And I realized that, wow, I just took all those memories of this game looking like 4K modern day PC to now they're overwrote by my now different perspective of what a game looks like.
I could see that.
Yeah, so like it was kind of like upsetting to me because I was like, I can't remember this anymore as what it's no longer preserved as a childhood memory. Now it's tainted with a more matured outlook on it.
Did you ever play 007 GoldenEye?
No, I didn't.
I thought that game was way ahead of its time, and I played that over Christmas,
Did it change your perspective on it a little bit?
like night and day. It looks like trash.
Yeah, and don't you? Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, man, I wish I could just remember it. So, I started doing this thing where I would no longer watch gameplay of
Older stuff.
yeah, and what you're just talking about in Crystal Skull. I've only seen that movie one time. I've only watched it one time, and I think it came out a good bit before. I was definitely still younger because that scene, that exact scene, what you're talking about with the alien,
Yeah.
I distinctly remember it scared the shit out of me because not anymore, but back then I was terrified of aliens. Like because it was the typical alien look too in the movie.
Yeah.
It was like the big head and the staring you in the face and not saying anything, no facial expressions, just like
Yeah.
some squinted eyebrows. It in my brain, because I've only seen it one time, and that was when I was a young kid. What I remember as was scary, and like it must mean something to me because I can recall that thing when you bring it up.
Yeah.
So if I were to, because the scene's on YouTube, if I were to go pull that up right now, and watch it, I'd be like, that's what I was scared of? That's stupid.
Yeah.
Well, guess what happened to my childhood recollection of it being like what it meant to me? It's gone. It's weird. You can't preserve anything from your childhood. As far as like, I don't know, it's kind of, I don't really know how to put it. It's like, you have these childhood memories that you don't want to tamper with.
Yeah.
You know,
You want to preserve. You want to preserve them.
it's like the only thing you can retain from your childhood.
Yeah.
You can't. It's like you can't go play on the playground. You're gonna feel the same way as you did when you're 5.
That's a good line of thought. I like that one.
Yeah. So people that it's almost like a public announcement that our 15 subscribers are gonna see. Lucky for you. If you have like a memory of how something was to you, like how it even as how it looked, like how realistic it looked, like a video game, or how scary something looked, or how cool you thought something looked, don't go back and watch it.
You know how I know
don't.
that we're good friends is like what I was talking about this college thing. It's not really related to college, but like this thing is, I've thought this before. I just never tied it to adult memories overlapping childhood memories, or I should say older you overlapping younger you memories, because there have been things that I have intentionally avoided in my life. Won't say because I don't want other people to know. Obviously, that's like inner me kind of thing, and it's allowed me to preserve these beautiful memories of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I know if I go back to them, the ones that I did decide to taint, I regretted it every time. James Bond, for instance, one of them. Kind of songs, even too, sometimes to this day.
Yeah,
I
was
have
gonna
this.
say that. Yeah.
It's actually negative. It's and that's weird. It's negative. So why would I want to bring it up? But I just think of this song and like, man, why do I want to listen to this again? But like every time I do listen to it, it reminds me like, man, this is not a good time in my life. And then, yeah, that's just weird that we do that. We preserve memories, good or bad, because we don't want that to change who we are, you know? Even though we've learned, understand that it's changed. Like, I remember when I was a kid, like younger, I wasn't really a kid, I was more of a teenager. My dad got this candy called Abba Zaba, and to him, it was like, oh, this great candy. And when I tried it, I was like, oh, it tastes like shit. It's like, all right. But I'm like, it's not, wow. But it's like the same thing with, for me, more so for an older generation, but I was just kind of exposed to it, is those bubblegum cigarettes. I remember being like a kid thinking like, oh, this is actually really good gum. And then I tried it when I was a little older, and it tasted like fucking chalk. And it's just a memory that like, oh, man, why did I fucking do that?
I guess like the golden rule is if it's something from your no joke childhood, we'll say like I'm not really gonna put a age range on, but if it's your no joke childhood, you probably shouldn't revisit it as an adult because you can't get it back. Like if you remember it, look, period, you're just gonna look at something completely different as a child versus as you are now, and you're gonna look at it, and for example, like the bubble gum or whatever. Of course, when you're a kid, you're gonna look at it like, oh man, this is the greatest thing ever. It tastes so sweet and it's so yummy. But when you're an adult and you go back to it, of course, it's not gonna. You're probably gonna think the same way because you're no longer a child.
Yeah.
So just leave it be. Just leave it in your bank of memories as a preserved childhood. Like you can't. That's the only thing you get from your childhood. Is basically what it comes down to. You can't. You can't get anything back from your childhood. You can't. You're not physically the same size or any of that. So preserve these intangible things in your head for what they were. What you looking over there?
I'm going to read you something.
Oh yeah.
Do a Lex on you. I listened to everything you said. When you're talking about size, I remember this picture. So I woke up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. on a school day. I don't know what it was. I just could not sleep. I literally could not. I had no sleep. Like I went to bed literally at like 1 a.m. And I woke up a couple hours later and I was like, fuck, man, it's going to be one of those days. You know, like I got to go to school in a couple hours. Like, fuck me. And I took a picture of this. I might even have it somewhere. And I'm like really close on this mirror. And like I had like this pump. I probably shouldn't have done. It's not healthy probably. But I worked out. I did a full workout and everything. But it was on arms. And I had this amazing pump in my arms. And I remember, like, when you talk about, I remember other people talking about, like, man, I used to work out. Like, I used to be so jacked. And, like, that's a great example of, like, I used to be able to lift this weight, and now I'm trying to do that same weight, and then you end up hurting yourself, right? And I look back at this specific time in this photo sometimes, too, and I'm like, man, I felt like I was on top of the world. And then I try to recreate that in the future. And I remember this distinct point, and, like, it actually started to hurt my wrist. Like, it's kind of even, like, led to me not lifting as much to this day because, like, that overexertion to achieve what I did when I was younger kind of, like, fucked up my arms a little bit. And, like, sometimes I'll get pain in my arms because of it. But it's like we try to chase them, and we just shouldn't, you know? But I bring in this quote. I don't know, maybe you can top this. I have this 11th grade teacher I was telling you about. So you read The Great Gatsby, or you watched the movie?
Nah. I'm sorry, folks. Once again, I let people down when it comes to movies.
There's this quote. If he listens, he'll love this. I'll probably let you the book if I can get it to you in time. And it says, "So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past."
What was the last two?
I'll read it again.
Yeah.
"So we beat on." So imagine you're in a boat.
Yeah.
Right? Boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. So imagine, right, you're trying to row on a boat, literally wooden paddle in some dinky, maybe two-person boat, and then the current is pushing you back. So you're kind of fighting the current, and, like, that's, like, bringing you to your past. So, like, you're trying to go forward, and you're constantly being brought to your past. So, like, this is, if you haven't read the book, do you want me to spoil it or no?
Yeah, you might as well.
Yeah. So Gatsby, this really rich dude, there's East Egg, West Egg, I don't remember the entire story. He's trying to chase his past. This girl, Daisy, is very beautiful. He remembers having a past with her, and he's trying to literally recreate what he remembers before the war. I think it's like World War I, because this is like the Roaring 20s. And he, in an attempt to get back to where he was, he does all these exotic things. And it's also an era where people don't really care. So, like, girlfriends and all that stuff, even though you're married, it wasn't a big deal. It was just kind of like the way of life. Like, people would know about it, but the person, so, like, you would know someone's cheating on me, and so would that person, but I would never know. It's kind of like that environment. Everybody knew but the person that needed to know. But like this quote is kind of important because it's like you're trying to move on in your life, but your past is drawing you back. Same with these like memories that we try to preserve, is like we want to go on in life, but we have these very beautiful, not necessarily complex is probably the better word. Very complex, elegant, eloquent, if that's a word. Things that we don't want to change, but as we move forward, we kind of want to, you know? But at the same time, we don't. It's this really weird paradox.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's heavy.
Yeah, for that, I'd just say if it was a memory formed in childhood,
Don't touch it.
don't
Do not touch it.
just leave it be. Like, no matter what it is, like, it has more to do with like for me, because I don't really lose anything when, for instance, as far as like I don't lose anything like, oh wow, I remember it like this, and now I don't lose anything in that value when I go to, say, a physical location, like oh wow, I used to walk around here when I was a kid. This place is fucking stupid. No, I've never done that,
Yeah.
but for me, it's been, I sound like a nerd, but it's been like video games and movies.
Yeah.
We'll say that. If you, because it's only going to be less, like astonishing to you
Mm-hmm.
as an adult when you're a child playing Modern Warfare on the PS2 or watching. For me, it was a scary movie, freaking Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I would never go back, and I don't want to taint those memories, like just what we've been saying. Yeah, so if it's a very visual, I think it pertains to like more visual made memories.
I
Like
could see that.
you saw this and then you remembered it in this way.
Like a
And
snapshot.
Yeah, snapshot. Don't go back and revisit those. Like, no matter how much you want to do it for nostalgia, be like, oh, I want to go back and watch that again because I used to watch that when I was a kid and I haven't seen it in 20 years. Don't do it, because you only form more memories, and guess what you are now? You're an adult.
Yeah.
And those, they might not override it, but now you have two different conflicting memories, childhood and adulthood. And they're going to be, just keep it pure. Just keep it as when you're a kid.
Yeah, there's this memory I have in life where I'm still in my childhood. This is my actual last childhood memory, you could say, before adulthood. I was already an adult this time, but like moving into actual work, not self-reliance kind of thing, is I was chilling in my buddy's hot tub at his dad's house, and it's like, I swear, like this was where you wanted to be, at least back home, because you could see like like the light. We talked about it like recently, where there's a lot of light pollution. Yep. So you could see the light pollution, and you could see like a nice gradual break into the sky, and it was like you could see all the stars. Like it was like this really cool.
You
area.
Get both. You get like the city and the
exactly.
Yeah.
It like you weren't too far from the city, too far removed, and you weren't too far into the city or in the country that you couldn't see the city.
That's cool.
So you saw the light pollution fade into the night sky. You still had all the nice, in the distance, the cars going off, which was even cooler. But you couldn't see the lights, so it didn't blind that perception, which probably helped. But I saw this, it was 4 of us. Me and my other buddy were in that hot tub, and we were looking out kind of like towards your direction, like out towards the nice white, blue, gray and black sky, and you could see all these cool stars, and a meteor shower happened, and you could start seeing all these meteor, like the, right? That's what it is, like when you could see the streaks.
Is this the one you were talking about last time?
No,
The
this is
meteor
like
shower?
completely, no.
Yeah.
But I saw maybe it was, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to rewind it.
You told me you saw a meteor shower one time.
Okay, I think it is, yeah.
Okay.
And I saw this really cool thing, and like you would, a couple of seconds would pass, and you'd see another one. And I have this distinct memory of this friend. I haven't talked to him since that moment, which is kind of the preservation of it. Is for two reasons. Is I hate looking to the stars. I literally hate looking up if there's a star in the sky because of that reason.
Oh.
Because it reminds me of like this very simplistic time in my life where I had no responsibility. And then when I look at it now, I have all this responsibility. My life's 180 from that moment. I have all these responsibilities kind of thing, privileges, stuff like that. So like when I look to the sky, I think of that moment, and it kind of like gets me sad, like dreary, So then like the other thing is like I'm also don't want to talk to this buddy because now I have this memory preserved of like this weird bond with this guy.
Yeah.
And we're never really close, honestly. Like I'm not saying we're not buddies, we're not enemies either. It's not like that. We're not just in the middle either.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. And it's like, man, I don't want to talk to this guy because like I have this memory of him and those stars, and like both are compromised either way, I don't know. That's maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but
So
like,
you don't like looking up at the night sky?
no.
Because
If I look up, like that's a weird thing too. I remember looking at the moon for my parents, but if there were stars, I'd look right down. I could not look up. I will not to this day look up. Because to preserve that memory.
But do you think looking up now would like override it or tarnish it? Or?
That's what I don't want to test. That's the evil, the double, the dagger, the velvet dagger.
Double edge.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a weird memory to not want to overwrite, but yeah, one of my charms.
So you saw a meteor shower, right?
It's not necessarily the meteor shower. It was
No?
just this beautiful image that I have,
okay.
And I feel like if I fall in love with that, it'll be as an adult and not as a child.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Because I don't have any other childhood memories where I'm looking in the stars other than my room, right? But that's not the organic, no shit stars.
Okay. I bet if I took you up north and we saw some northern lights, you'd
Yeah,
I'd grab your head and be like, "Look up, girl!"
like that Birdbox, like you're like,
oh
yeah, my eyes.
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
So the thing with Netflix movies, like Netflix branded movies, you scroll
Originals.
over, yeah, and it says has the big N. I'm like, ugh, no. Birdbox, they got it, man. Sandra Bullock, her acting in that movie.
I love her in general. She's a really good actress.
Yeah, so the acting in that movie, for me, the reason why I liked it so much, it felt like believable.
Yeah.
Like it felt, it's not like she was acting, bro. It's like she was being for real. It felt like
genuine.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about like your title is you're an actor or an actress, but when you're watching a movie, you don't want to feel like, oh, they're just acting. Like when you convince the viewer like they're being for real, even though obviously it's still a movie, but you still convince them like, man, this person's like really upset with these children, this boy and girl.
Yeah.
They're doing their job very good then. And that's the reason why I like Birdbox so much, because it felt like really believable. It's like,
yeah,
damn, Sandra, chill out with these kids. But I remember like all the memes going. Oh man, coming back to the memes theory. Tell me Netflix didn't make those memes about Birdbox
to proliferate their
5,050 million%.
Well, that was a pretty good scene to make a meme, though. Like some dude, like you don't want to see it. Like I don't want to see the stars, and you come up and throw my eyes open and now I'm dead.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, because I know there's a ton of memes going around about it, which were 50 million% created by Netflix employees.
Yeah.
100%. You remember that about Netflix? Well, not about Birdbox. You remember that like controversy going around with the little kids on the
their dancing thing?
Yeah, it was like these little kids
I don't think it was a conspiracy.
Twerking.
Yeah, that was like a legit thing. Yeah. They authorized it.
I said conspiracy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not conspiracy. It was a real thing.
It was a grotesque thing.
Yeah, it was like a French movie or something.
No, originally. It was a show, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be wrong.
Yeah. Bottom line was it was fucked up in the sense that I had these little girls and
twerking,
kids. Yeah, like doing things that were sexual looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's this guy on YouTube I watch. He's pretty big. And he came out with like a video talking about how like the reason why it was so jacked up, and he put in perspective like, look, this wasn't like because he was talking specifically about the like cover picture of the movie when you scroll on Netflix.
Yeah, it was like I think it was 3 girls or 5. It was like an odd number, but yeah.
Yeah, and then like the description of it was like very like
misleading,
suggestive and sexual nature kind of.
Yeah, something that would interest pedophiles.
Yeah, it was weird. It made you like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then you had like the picture go along with it. And he was like talking about, he brought up how it was like, this isn't like some one person at Netflix just made this and then, posted it.
Yeah.
This is like, because obviously if you're posting something on Netflix, especially if it's a movie, everything down to the description, to the thumbnail, to the rating, to everything, it goes through this chain.
Yeah. The cycle.
It's like, all right, this is what I have drafted up. What do you think? Yeah. Make this small change and then we'll send it up. Okay. And then they get it. Yeah, looks good. Sends up. This is like multiple levels.
Yeah.
And he was pissed that it went through all this chain and they're like, yeah, this is good. Had these fucking 13-year-old kids in these skimpy ass clothes twerking with this suggestive description get posted. Yeah, that's all clear and hot. That's all good. And yeah, now that I remember, it was a French something movie show. I think it was movie, and their version of it on Netflix was 180. It was like these silly little kids, and it was not fucking weird.
Yeah,
like it was called like, I can't remember what it was called, but it was not like how we had it.
Yeah.
Like we took it. I don't know which one it was. Like if
just the message got misconstrued hardcore.
Yeah. It's like once we took it from France and brought it over here, we switched it up to some weird shit.
Yeah.
Or the French took it and made it way less fucking weird.
Yeah. Trying to normalize it.
This is very broad. This is what my broad scale memory is of it, but it's definitely that kind of realm.
Yeah.
The French did something with it. It had something to do with it. I can't remember what it was.
Is that the conspiracy part of it? Like we don't know what happened. Like,
yeah, I didn't mean to say conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like just how was that okay for for all these people to see it, and you know how like the world is today. It's like political, right? It's like PC cultural.
Yeah.
Isn't that the thing with Netflix? Why the fuck are you having these little kids looking all sexual?
Well, that's the thing.
Looking?
I think I was telling you about TED Talk. Maybe it was someone else. Is they had some woman trying to like normalize pedophilia, and it's like, no, get the fuck out of here. Like,
do you remember when I was talking about that in DACA with you? Oh,
yeah,
come on, please.
Yeah, I think slightly. I remember you bringing it up.
Do you remember me telling you how that was? Whatever year that was, 18?
Yeah.
Back in 18, I was 18, 19. I was telling you, I was like, and I'm pretty sure I told you, I was like, in 10 years, pedophilia is going to be attempted to be normalized. Oh, man, I was so happy to see, not happy to see that. It was, but I was so happy to see that. I was
You
like,
predicted it.
yeah, I predicted it. Oh, yeah.
You foreshadowed it.
Which is, sucks, but
Sad that you had, that's something that's predictable.
yeah. But I do remember seeing that stuff. I was like, man, I fucking called that. I love saying I called those things. I like saying I called things.
Maybe The Simpsons did. We just haven't looked into it yet.
Oh, man. So there's this other thing that's the like Illuminati card deck. It's a real thing. It's this. I don't think they make it anymore. But like The Simpsons, it's what's the word? It's weirdly close to, suspiciously close to like calling things.
Yeah.
But it had this thing with Trump. It had this card with. I'll show you after this. It had this card with a guy who looked very strikingly close to Trump, Donald Trump, former president. I know you guys didn't know he was the former president. That's why I said it. Getting assassinated. And so I used to be a guy who was all about the rabbit hole, man. The thing that started for me, so long story short, I used to be big into the quote unquote conspiracy theories. Some of them could be true.
Yeah, we'll never know.
I don't know. So I used to be deep into the ideas of the world, you know, the interesting, juicy ones. The thing that started for me was the Boston Marathon, seeing an image of, it was going around on Facebook. No, I think it was actually going around YouTube. It was so you remember that very, very popular photo going around of the guy from the Boston Marathon bombing in the wheelchair with the cowboy hat on, and he had his legs blown off.
I'd have to see.
Blown off.
Honestly, yeah, no, I may have.
Yeah, so
I won't say no. I feel like I may have.
You could just type in Boston Marathon bombing, and it would bring up a picture of a dude wearing a cowboy hat getting wheeled around in a wheelchair with his legs blown off, air quotes. And I'm saying air quotes. I don't know if it maybe it did actually happen. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. Someone found this dude that looked so similar to him. It was like the same dude.
Doppelganger.
Yeah. Who was an amputee. He was like a no joke. Before this, he was an amputee from, he might have been a veteran. I don't know how his legs were amputated, but it was like, did they just take this guy and make him a prop in this thing?
Yeah.
Once I saw that dude, fucking
tinfoil hat,
Sandy Hook, flat Earth, 9/11.
Dude, 9/11, I used to go deep on fucking hour-long commercials when it was only 1 10-second and you could skip from second one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We would watch 9/11 for hours, man. Hours. Especially when 2001 through 2005, maybe even 6, probably the cutoff, when they would, like, no shit, do bombings or fucking V-bids would go off, and that would be on YouTube. Dude, that was like, that's all it was V-bids, fucking terrorist attacks, fucking 9/11, like, whole 9 of that topic right there.
So when it comes to, I'm so glad I got this hitch, because it was, look, I'm not saying everything the news puts out is 100% without a doubt. You should not question it. How dare you question it?
Yeah.
Truth. You know, because there's anomalies in all of this stuff. And if you look at objectively with like good discernment, you'll start to be like, what?
Yeah.
I got out of that not because I was like thinking, oh, this is all bullshit. I got out of it because I was like, it's better for me to just not think that way. It's shady shit going on even now with COVID. 10 trillion%. You could probably find something shady going on. Am I going to go into the rabbit hole and devote all this time into finding that the fucking government did this and this over the election because of COVID and this? That? No. I'd rather just be like, drink the Kool-Aid and be like, all right, coronavirus is everything as it seems. It's this virus and this, that, and the other, and all this. Just what the media says, you know, the bullet points. We'll just go with that.
Yeah.
Because once you go in that rabbit hole, man, there's like so much time devoted. But there is so many undeniable things when it comes to like a lot of the news. I will go on to say, without a doubt, is in the business of propping up basically actors, crisis actors is what they're called, into these a lot of these events. Because like I know one example, Aurora, Dark Knight.
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah, the shooting. There was this guy. I remember the scene of this guy talking about, he was in a cast talking about how he got shot in the shoulder, and it's like he was an actor because he didn't isolate his arm. So if I got shot in the shoulder by an M4 variant AR-15 firing 5.56, got shot in the shoulder, like the no joke shoulder. First off, you would be fucked. Your shoulder would be completely history, basically.
Yeah.
There's a video clip. It's probably harder to find now because YouTube has gotten increasingly like that.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that. Like, I'll search for something. Like, come on, let's just show me the video. There's this video clip that I saw one time, and it was this dude who was in a cast, and his story was he was shot in the shoulder, and he's talking, and you know how people talk with their arms, you know, they gesticulate is the word. It's like he was doing that, but he forgot he was in a sling, so he was doing this number.
Yeah.
Talking, gesticulating with his shoulder. And it's like, didn't you get shot in the shoulder by a 223? 5.56? So when you see stuff like that, a person with good discernment is going to, at least when you see these conspiracy things, it at least starts to like get you thinking.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, because when you start thinking, you're like, let me look this up. It's better to just
drink the Kool-Aid.
Just stay away from that shit, dude, because it's going to suck up so much of your time, and you can't talk about it. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
You can't. I had this friend of mine when I went down this rabbit hole, and I would talk to him about these things, and he would look at me like I was fucking crazy.
Really?
Yes. He thought I was crazy, and I almost regret being like that, because and it's weird too, because it's like, at minimum, these things will make you think. And like I said, that's kind of like the problem, because it's like, as bad as it is, you just like, in this society, just how it is, the general populace, 9/11 was some terrorists taking down the buildings with a plane. Sandy Hook was a no shit dude shooting up a school. It was all face value.
Yeah.
COVID-19 is a virus that came into the world and put us. It's better to just no matter what you think, just drink it, dude. Don't bring it up, because it's only gonna just put you in more. But that's not saying that what you bring up is legitimate questions. I mean, you can go balls to the wall with some things, but like when you are, no joke, watching a dude move his arm around in this manner,
Yeah.
Most people should be like, all right, dude. Like, if you were able to be there and pull that person aside and be like, hey, I saw you doing that interview and you were shot and everything, but did you like heal up quick? Like, how are you able to like do this number? Like, where'd you get hit? Did he just wing you, or do you know shit through and through? Like, just be like honest from a medical standpoint, you know?
Yeah.
Like, hey man, how are you moving your arm? Because like I broke my collarbone a few months back, and that was just, I didn't get shot, but like I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I did break my collarbone. I couldn't move my arm like that. And keep in mind, these were days, not weeks, days after the shooting happened. So it's like you gotta start questioning things at some point. But if you do that, you're a conspiracy tinfoil hat wearing theorist.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do that. But is it a legit question? Yeah. From a medical standpoint, you could be like, hey, so you got shot 3 days ago and you're moving. How'd you heal up so quick? Like, did you do something? What's your, like, do you do, like, physical therapy? Can I see, where'd you get hit? Can I see it?
Yeah.
Are those, like, legitimate
follow-on questions that you would need to know to answer that? You know, that's, yeah.
But you're not allowed to say those things.
Yeah. I mean, just think of how Alex Jones feels, you know?
Yeah, he got that's how he got censored, because of the Sandy Hook shooting, and he got
We need people like that, though.
I don't want to say the reason why he got taken off of platforms is because he was attributed to getting Sandy Hook shooting victim families harassed. This is why he got taken down. Whether he went up there and said, go harass the Sandy Hook family victims, I don't know if he said that or not, but they attributed to that, just like how they attributed the former vice president to the storm on the Capitol. I don't know.
Oh, you mean president?
Yeah. What did I say?
Vice.
Yeah, former president. Former president to the storming of the Capitol.
Yeah.
It's arguable. Did Alex Jones say, fucking go harass the Sandy Hook? I don't know. So, but that's why he got taken, as far as I understand. People are allowed to have him on, but he can't have his own platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they'll find a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So we're at that time. I know
good.
you folks would love us if we were on here for like 5 hours.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they would.
Yeah. But yeah. So what did we hit today? We hit pagers. We hit pagers for a minute.
Yeah. Pagers. We talked about memories. Right? Was one of them.
Yeah, memories and
music.
Yeah, music.
For sure, music.
I can't remember half the things. I'm pretty plastered, so.
Being an articulate speaker versus being articulate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
To our 20 subscribers, please share us on Facebook.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
See you guys next time.
You guys all know the deal. So, thanks for watching as usual, and yeah, we'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye. Thank you.
That was a good one.